Hi guys, this is Ganesh Nayak. I hope everybody's doing good, and I'm back with one more interview of my student. She's been able to clear FRM Level 1 in May 2022, and she's going to be sharing with us her journey of preparing for the exam. Okay, what are the challenges that she faced? What are the strategy that she used so that other students who are preparing for the exam in the coming exam primarily they can benefit from it and they can it can help them to clear their exam also. So with this, we'll start with the discussion. So first of all, Palak, thank you very much for joining in and taking out time to share your knowledge, share your experience with the community. And definitely, this is going to be very helpful for new students who are going to be preparing for the exam. So, Palak, before we start the conversation, can you give us a brief that when did you start your preparation for FRM? What was your status? What were you doing around that point in time?
So I started approx in October, but I had my IPCC exam due in November, December 2021. So I
Mhm.
was preparing for both side by side, and then I started 1 month before my IPCC exam. I started focusing on that. I gave my
Okay.
exams. I took a break, and then I started preparing for FRM again around in
Okay.
January.
Okay.
So in January, I was in midway through the portion, like I completed 35 readings. I saw your lectures. Those were very helpful for me. And then I used to read Quasar and everything.
Hmm.
And then I continued with that. And around in January end, I completed my readings, all my
Full
readings.
reading, entire
Yeah,
60 chapters. So primarily after your exam, November exam, the
yeah,
IPCC exams, you prepared for the next 2 months. Primarily, you put in more time and you completed the entire 60 reading ka videos. Okay, video and
yes,
textbook.
yes.
You started solving the question bank.
Yeah, I started solving like you told that do it in do 2, 3 chapters together and then solve. So I started solving the question bank, but I was lacking behind in question bank. But then in around mid Feb or uh, yeah, approximate in mid Feb, I was done with my question bank also.
Okay, perfect. And the IPCC result that you cleared the exam.
That yeah, that came in February end that I cleared my exam. So I was not sure that I will clear my exam, but it was something very
But
good.
you had
So
this in mind that okay, if even if you clear, you will not be able to go for May, right? Level for that final exam.
yeah, yeah, I
So that
had
is why
that
you were
in mind.
preparing
So
for
I
FRM.
FRM, yeah, and then from February I started preparing for FRM also and CA final also. I was completing my portion because it is like a ocean to complete portion of CA final also. So I was trying that at least one of the CA final subject which is similar, I'll complete it. That is SFA.
Okay,
So I took that
okay.
subject and I was doing it side by side with FRM.
So now you have a November exam for CA final. That is one exam that
Yeah,
you are
now
planning
I
to give. Okay.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
when you were doing the question bank solving, like you said, you dedicated you because you had time immediately.
yeah.
There was no job as
Hmm.
such, right? And there was no
Yeah,
pressure of CA reading also during that
yeah.
December, January, and Feb. So you utilized it properly, and like you said, you were able to complete the reading and the
Yeah, I
question
was
bank
able to
also.
Hmm.
Okay,
So
perfect.
the most difficult point was to analyze what is your mistake and why it is wrong, especially in theory questions. I am not a
Hmm.
person good with theory. I am good with formulas. I am good with practicals. So to know why that thing is wrong, that was a big deal for me. So on
Okay.
YouTube, I saw one of the video where that sir mentioned that you should keep two books, 60, 70 pages book.
Hmm.
One should be your formula book, and one should be a book where you write from each reading what is important in that reading you
Wow.
feel is
Okay.
important, or what is your mistake. So I made some changes in that thing, and I used to write what mistakes I'm making while doing the question bank, what is
Hmm.
important, what I can re- revise it while studying. Like for from one day before the exam, you need something like
Hmm.
what mistakes you made. It should be in one paper. So I wrote all of that in a book, in a thin book. Every reading wise, I allotted one page to one reading.
Reading this is
So
one
that
chapter.
helped.
One chapter.
Yeah, one chapter. So I used to write my mistakes in that reading. So that helped me a lot during the previous
Final
day of my
preparation.
exam. Yes, I just referred that previous day of my exam because sometimes you learn from your mistakes only. You
Hmm.
don't want to repeat your mistakes, so you learn from that thing only.
Okay, okay,
That
got it,
was
got
my
it.
approach, that I used to write what I am doing wrong.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Now, so from Feb mid or Feb end, where you completed your question bank. Okay, so after that, what were you doing? I mean, what was your strategy?
So
And
I
you were
stopped.
dedicating towards CA also, sometime towards CA,
Yeah.
sometime. Yeah.
So in March, I was doing more of CA. Like I was not able to give time to FRM that much. So
Okay.
till 9th or 10th April, I was doing more of my exam was on 9th May. So till 9th or 10th of April, I was doing more of CA. I was finishing my CA portion. Then from 9th April, 9th or 10th April, I started preparing for FRM again. I
Okay.
went through readings. I was solving the question bank, which the section wise topics, the
Hmm.
important question bank which you gave
Quiz,
on your
quiz.
site,
Yes.
the important quizzes. I was
Hmm.
solving all of that. And to be honest, if people is referring your question bank, I don't think they should go for any other question banks, because I
Okay.
also made a list of question banks to solve before exam, but it
But
is
you don't
not
get time.
possible. Yeah, you don't get time. Your question bank is very much good. It is self-sufficient for a person who wants to give it, and it is very helpful. Many questions were repeated also in exam. Not questions, but
Okay.
concept were there in
Concept
exam.
wise. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
Perfect.
helped me a lot.
So now, when you were primarily from Feb end till April, April start or April 10th, primarily, you focus more on CA. Then you started your revision
Yeah.
and the solving part.
Yeah,
How
I
many
started my revision.
mock papers you solved for the exam?
I solved three of your mock papers, and one I just went through it. I
What was
took
the
a
average
glance
score?
of one paper. My average score was 60, 65, between
Okay,
60 and 70.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. And you were also analyzing the wrong answers that you're getting. What is the impact
Yeah.
of that? Which concept
Huh.
it is connected to? All of that was done
Yes,
properly.
yes, yes. In mock papers also, I made a page where I wrote, in this mock paper, you should refer this question before your exams. So I made all
Okay,
of that.
that is interesting.
Because
Really.
because while what I have learned from my CA exam is, being organized, planning things will help you to clear any exam. If
Hmm.
you organize your things properly, if you know what is your mistake, and if you refer it, then it might help you to clear the exam.
Right.
This was my strategy.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you went for the exam, okay, what was the first hour like? What happened in that first hour?
In my first hour, I just solved 20, 25 questions. Like,
Okay.
and that too, I took in 20, 25 question also, 10 to 12 questions, I flagged them. So I was not
Okay.
sure about them. And then I started panicking. I'm very bad when I start panicking. I can I started panicking, and then I solved the questions. Luckily, this time paper was like, I was understanding the questions because I had solved so many of them. So I knew where is this from. I could solve them properly. So that
Okay.
1 hour was panicking, but I able to complete the paper on time, and I had 2-3 minutes left.
So how many questions kind of you flagged? That means you solved, but you're not very sure. How many of them?
I flagged around 20 questions, and then at the end I wrote those 20 questions in my list, and I had, if I you told in one of your videos that mark, put the options you have doubt in.
Hmm.
So if I have a doubt in A and B, I wrote those options on the paper, and then while reviewing the question, I just saw those options and review. I put the answer.
You change the answer also primarily in some
Yeah,
cases.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I changed
Okay.
the answer also.
Perfect. And now, what was the how many questions around were theory and how many were calculation driven?
75% was theory and 25% was calculation driven. There were questions from calculations, but they were also in a form of theory mainly. So
Okay.
75% was theory and 25% was
I think so. This is what they're
calculation.
doing. They're doing now. Previously, they
Yeah,
were not using calculation as a calculation theory. They're making it slightly tricky for people to solve and
Yeah,
take out time. And did you face problem that a lot of people were facing, that two options were very close?
very close, very close.
Okay.
They were very close. I faced the problem. So you need that minute to decide what is right, what is wrong. And
Hmm.
and we it is very confusing sometimes what is right, because you feel both of them are right. And then I was like, forget it, choose any one of them and let's go forward. So I did
And then
that
you will review it
exactly.
later, because in
Yeah,
such a situation, what happens is you need to come back to the question with a fresh mind.
yeah, sure.
When you come back, then you realize, nahi, ye to galat kiya tha. I chose a wrong
Huh.
answer. So that happens a lot of time, because it creates a mental block. If you chose an answer, chose an option, then and you're reading the question two, three times, you might not get that click. Okay, why a particular
Yeah.
statement makes sense. So best
So
suggestion is
you
leave the
need a
question like you did and go back, come again, and
and
look it from a fresh mind.
hmm,
Fresh mind, definitely.
that is the
And
best way.
when you're preparing, I forgot to ask you one question. When you're preparing, what was the order of preparation? Were you using my Excel, or were you using your own way of doing things, the preparation?
I was using your Excel, but I modified it book-wise because I am a
Hmm.
person who wants to finish book first. Like I can't
You'll get
wait
confidence.
to, I need to complete
Okay.
book-wise thing. So I was using your tracker, but I modified it according to me. I was completing book-wise. First, I started with book 3, then I did book 4 and book 2, book 1.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Now,
Yeah.
when you cleared the exam and the result came in, what are the quartiles that you got?
I got 4, 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Book 1, I got 4.
So it's
Book
all the
2, I
quartiles, one, two, three, four,
got.
straight away.
Yeah, I got all the quarters.
And fourth quartile was in first book.
Yeah, I told you my theory is very weak.
No, the reason I asked you this specific question, because a lot of, first of all, there is a myth that if you get a four in any book, you're failed.
No, no, you are
That
not.
is what I get to hear from people, that I failed because I got a four. It's not necessary. Primarily, one of the benefit I think so you got was the last two books, the three and four books. Even if you scored bad in the first book, the other two books
I
primarily picked
scored
you up.
and I scored 1 in second book once.
Hmm.
So even
Okay.
that helped my quartile to
A
go
lot
up.
of people, they cannot, because they feel quant is slightly tough. So they reach third quartile or maximum second quartile. Getting a first quartile in quant is good. That helps you.
Yeah,
Now, two major questions. Primarily, the first one: if somebody is preparing for FR, okay,
yeah.
what would be your top three tips to clear the exam?
One of them would be calm, don't rush through it, and don't just finish the portion to finish it. Like, do the reading properly, solve the
Hmm.
question bank, do 2, 3 readings, solve the question bank, keep week-wise targets for yourself, set small targets, but achieve them. Don't just set targets for the hell of setting those.
Okay.
Achieve the targets. Second would be you can also use my technique. Whoever is preparing can use the technique of keeping a formula book and uh, a book
A
to
mistake.
write down your mistake. Yeah. And third will be give mock papers because those help. Those papers will help not on the basis of marks, they will help you to see that whether you can sit for that long hours, your mind is working all the time, and give at a particular time, like from when you are fresh, give
Hmm.
where at time when you're not fresh, or during afternoon with
Right.
noise and everything, so you know how to tackle the paper, because you don't know how the exam center will be, whether there will be noise, and
Got it.
some situations are not in your control, so you should be prepared for those situations also.
Right. Be mentally ready for any wrong thing that can happen,
Any,
and also
yeah,
practice mock papers if possible on the same time the exam is going to be there.
yeah, that will
That
be the best thing to do. I
that
did
helps
in
you.
that time only. My exam was from 9 to 1. So I used to write my mock during that time.
Okay, okay, perfect, perfect. And one final question with respect to your background to CA. If
Yeah.
What is a major similarity, what you feel, a major difference between the CA and the FRM exam, and how a CA student should change his strategy to clear the FRM exam?
So the similarity is that one of the paper of CA final is SFM, Strategic Financial Management, and
Hmm.
one of the book we have is derivatives. It is financial products.
Right.
So the book, the concepts are same,
Hmm.
but the approach in FRM is you should know the concept. If you don't know the formula for once, it is okay because there are not many questions based on formulas. You should know
Right.
the concept, you should also know the formula, but how that formula is driven, you should know that first. But in
Hmm.
CA final, you should know the formula. You have to mug the formula, you have to practice the formula because
Okay.
that formula again has marks in exams. You have to write the formula and then solve the question.
Right.
So this is a different strategy that in final you should know the formula, you should know the steps of solving a sum. But here you should be conceptually strong to know where the formula has come from, how it is driven.
Okay. So way you're preparing for CA and the way you're preparing for FRM will not match. You might not be able to clear FRM in that manner if you use the same logic as you use for CA
Yeah,
preparation.
sure, you won't be able to because CA final is mostly of formulas. They make us write the formula. That formula contains marks. And in
Hmm.
FRM, we don't have to write the formulas. We have to understand it. Nobody is going to check what you have written on your paper.
Right.
Everyone is going to check what
The
answer you have
final answer.
marked.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Perfect. Perfect. Wonderful. Wonderful, Palak. I mean, thank you very much. I mean, this in this conversation is going to be very helpful for these students and motivate them to
Mm.
because preparing an FRM exam with CA is a very big task because you have to dedicate and say it's not an easy exam. You have to dedicate time. You have to put in
Yeah,
and you
you
have to
have
attend
to.
like you have classes also. You have to attend for each book you have a different class, right? So different
Yes, yes.
lectures you have to attend. So it is going to be time consuming. So doing that and preparing it along with FRM is definitely a very big achievement for you also. And this will help other students, not only doing CA but other exams. They can also go for FRM and prepare it
FRM.
and clear
Yeah.
it. Yes, yes. So thank you very much,
Yes.
Palak, for taking
Thank
out
you,
time
sir.
and sharing your journey. This is going to be very helpful for the students. Thank you.
No problem, sir. Thank you.